A good place to start as an introduction to this course is with the title itself. What is turfgrass management? We can start with one definition by James Beard in his book Turfgrass, Science and Culture. He broke it out into two components, the first being turfgrass culture, which is a unique phase of plant culture defined as the science and practices of establishing and maintaining turf grasses for specialized purposes such as lawns, recreational areas, roadsides, and airfields. Turfgrass management itself is a broader term that encompasses labor supervision, record keeping, budgeting, cost accounting, as well as the turfgrass culture phases. Given his definition, we're going to focus on the turfgrass culture part for this class. Al Turgeon in his book Turfgrass Management defined the term more along the lines of Beard's turfgrass culture. I always liked Al's straightforwardness and actually pulled no punches. As you can see, if you're unable to deliver the quality expected in turfgrass management for that turf, the fault falls entirely on you. Don White, a retired professor at the University of Minnesota, looked at turfgrass management from more of an ecological perspective, as a management of competition between desirable and undesirable vegetation. In other words, turfgrass management is managing the turf to the desired species and quality and excluding other less desirable species like weeds or pests. To give you an appreciation of how maybe the art, science, and understanding of ecology is needed to manage just one single putting green. If we were to establish this green to creeping bentgrass, we would need to seed at approximately 1 pound per 1,000 square feet, which is approximately 6.4 million seeds per 1,000 square feet. Creeping bentgrass seeds are really small. And for your own information, the letter M stands for 1,000 square feet. The normal putting green is about 6,000 square feet. So if all the seed germinates, that will produce about 28 million little seedlings or plants. As the green matures and is maintained, these seedlings tiller and produce secondary shoots that in this case can result in 100 to 150 million creeping bentgrass shoots on this single putting green. And how high are these millions of plants allowed to grow to? Under intense mowing and management, we may maintain these turf shoots at a height less than the thickness of 2 dimes. I think you can understand the amount of science and understanding of plants needed to be successful, and how easy it is, as Turgeon in his description said, mismanage. I thought I would give you a few examples where things can go wrong or poor decisions are made. The turfgrass on this golf course in Egypt is Seashore Paspalum. As you can see, it is quite uniform, but as the designer said, lack definition. In other words, there is no rough to frame or focus your eye down the fairway. Normally to create rough, we would mow at a higher height along the outer edges. In this case, however, a different turfgrass species that was coarser and had a different color was introduced as a test. For your information, the turfgrass that was introduced is centipede grass. As you can see, it is spreading throughout the Seashore Paspalum. It has become a weed, and there is no control for it. This would be a failure in turfgrass management if we use Don White's definition, or any definition. Here is a putting green where many of those millions of plants didn't make it. In this case, it was a hot, humid summer that put considerable stress on these plants. In turfgrass management, especially golf course management, the ability to maintain desired turf quality during stress periods is really what management is all about, kind of like what Turgeon was alluding to. In this situation, the superintendent said to me, "Carl, You should have been here in the spring when the course looked great. I was thinking to myself, yeah, but my mom could grow turf in the spring under ideal growing conditions. But it is the stress times that golf course managers earn their pay. So what defines those stress periods? And how do we manage for them? Here I'm using a golfer's swing as an analogy. There are three components: the pre-shot routine, the actual swing or hitting of the golf ball, and the post-shot routine or finish. Which of these factors does the golfer have control over? It is the pre- and post-shot routine. The swing itself is actually unpredictable, but the pre- and post-shot routine that you practice are what prepares you to give your best swing. If I apply this analogy to turfgrass management, you can see that the swing is the unpredictable, or in our case, the stress time. What determines this stress time? Weather. At this point, I thought I would show what extreme weather events can do to turf. In this case, this is an Australian golf course that was flooded from a cyclone. This is also flooding damage on a golf course green that occurred just north of Columbus, Ohio. If you look closely at this church, you can see cracks in the walls. These cracks were caused by an earthquake. This is a putting green near that church that was damaged by that same earthquake. Tough to make a putt on this one. Actually, this picture was taken a year after the earthquake. This is a golf course in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Notice how the trees have been flattened. What flattened those trees and also flattened this maintenance facility on that golf course was a tornado. This is a golf course in Colorado. Looks like snow, but it's actually hail. This is a close-up of hail damage on a putting green. This is a golf course in Naples, Florida. Makes you think how you might stop a forest fire before it hits your golf course. This is a golf course in southern Argentina in the Patagonia region. A beautiful place and setting for this golf course resort. This is that same golf course with what looks like a coating of snow. Actually, it is ash from a volcanic eruption. Makes you wonder what that ash is doing to the turf grass and what you can do to get it off. This is a pretty exclusive golf course in South Korea. In this case, this is snow. These gentlemen are removing the snow from this green, not for some agronomic reason, but because the members wanted to play golf. So there were over 100 people removing snow from this golf course. I guess you could say this is golfer stress. The stresses I've mentioned previously are rather acute or rather once-in-a-lifetime kind of unique type of stresses. Most of the stresses that we face in managing turf are chronic in nature, like heat. This is a golf course in Dubai in August. Proper turf selection is the first step in successful turf management. It is so hot in Dubai that golf is often played at night. This picture is from a golf course in South Dakota. Often it gets so dry in the winter and snow cover is often absent that given the cold, windy conditions present, the turf can rapidly dry out or desiccate and often needs to be watered, even in the middle of winter. This is winter injury on a golf course in Norway. This type of winter injury in Norway is quite common. Often greens are re-established prior to the start of the golf season. Shade or low light conditions is often a problem on golf courses. This is a golf course in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The course is being shaded by buildings. The golf course was there long before these buildings. Some of the stresses that affect turf management are beyond the scope of this course. In this class, we will focus on the grasses, management practices, and pests that impact turfgrass management, all for the purpose of delivering a quality surface.